Hi, my name is Megan Kong, and today I will be sharing my findings on my study, The Experiences of Hong Kong Cantonese Identifying Music Therapists and Music Therapy Students. The goal is to examine the unique thoughts, feelings, experiences, and phenomenon associated with the Hong Kong Cantonese culture and music therapy education in the United States. The purpose of this research is to understand the experiences of music therapists and music therapy students who self-identify as Hong Kong Cantonese being significant in their culture. This research is important to give a voice to minority culture. I will be discussing literature that was found, qualitative methodology, demographics of participants, findings, and further research. A little bit about myself. I am a senior music therapy student and was born in the United States. However, for a few years in my early childhood, I lived in Hong Kong and still frequently visit. The Cantonese culture is a significant part of my upbringing. Cantonese music inspired me to pursue a career in music therapy. While studying music therapy at Radford, I discovered that most of the music studied in higher education are from the Western world. My core music studies revolved around Western music. The Eastern world offers beautiful music that have not been explored in music education. By not exploring other music, the world view promotes white privilege, that students have to perform music from the Western world only. The world is diverse. Music therapy clients are diverse. Our universities are diverse. My experience of being surrounded by one form of music is only a part of my music therapy education. I want to learn from other music therapy students and music therapists and help my profession grow from these views. This research is significant in recognizing minority experiences in music therapy education. There are 87 universities in the United States that offer degree programs in music therapy. Yet, no research has occurred that examines the influence and experiences of a minority subgroup like the Cantonese culture on music therapy education. American Music Therapy Association established competencies for music therapy and educational standards, such as knowing and respecting various cultures and demonstrating skill in working with various cultures. It is important to educate music therapists, music therapy students, music therapy educators, and potential colleagues in related fields to understand the experiences and relationship of Cantonese culture to music therapy. The dominant culture in music therapy are cisgendered, heterosexual, white females. The American Music Therapy Association workforce analysis stated 4 out of 4,018 members lived in Hong Kong. 78 out of 1,818 members reported themselves as Asian or Asian American, but that does not distinguish culture or background of these individuals. When reviewing literature, there were several publications that were relevant. Music therapy development in mainland China, music therapy development in Malaysia, music therapists when returning to home countries, Asian music therapy international students education and culture adjustment, music therapists originating from East Asian countries shift in and cross-cultural views. Authors discuss the need for cultural competency, and a similar study was examined the experiences of African American music therapists and music therapy students. I began the recruitment process by putting recruitment posts made on Facebook to Asian Music Therapy Network US and Cantonese Music Therapy Network. Interested participants contacted me through email, and then a recruitment phone call was set up to explain consent form, purpose of the study, and to address concerns. A consent form was signed, and then an interview was scheduled. After the interview, I transcribed each interview and sent back to the participants for member checking. After, they made reviews and sent it back to me, and I did coding and analysis. The following are my interview questions. What is your relationship to Cantonese culture? What are some of the meaningful traditions that make up your culture? Did your Cantonese culture influence your choice of music therapy school? What are some of the cultural beliefs that you have and that you believe relate to music therapy? How did you decide to become a music therapist? Tell me about your experience as a music therapy student as a member of a minority culture. How has the Cantonese culture influenced your clinical work? Have you ever incorporated Cantonese culture in your work? If so, could you tell me about it? What are some of the challenges you have faced as a Cantonese music therapy student? What are some of the successes you have faced as a Cantonese music therapy student? How have your peers' difference in culture influenced your own culture? The following are summaries of each participant. Jennifer self-identifies as a Cantonese music therapist. During the 1-hour interview, she discussed the role of church within her Cantonese culture and childhood. Other important aspects to her culture include music and money saving. When discussing music, she shared a meaningful Cantonese song her father sang to her. It was an adaptation of Isaiah 54:10. Jennifer shared how money saving influenced her choice of music therapy school. As Jennifer explained her experience within the music therapy education, she shared feelings of loneliness and isolation, as she was the only Asian American in her program. Finally, she shared an experience with a Chinese client where feelings of unfulfillment and disappointment emerged. Throughout her experience as a music therapy student and as a music therapist, Jennifer continues to be proud of her identity. Skylar self-identifies as a Cantonese music therapist. During the 1.5-hour interview, she discussed the role of music within her Cantonese culture. When discussing music, she shared how music is learned formally instead of for fun. She also shared meaningful experiences working in place of employment where she spent time educating the community about music therapy services, and music therapy is new to the community. Throughout her experience as a music therapist in the place of employment, she discussed the difference in culture such as quality of life. As Skylar explained her experiences within the music therapy education, she shared challenges of applying the English language to use music differently and how she learned music in the United States. Her first year in the United States, she shared feelings of loneliness due to attending a community college. But after the first year, she felt happy but had moments of intimidation. Throughout her experience as a music therapy student and as a music therapist, Skylar is proud of how her culture has helped her view many subjects with different perspectives. Stephanie self-identifies as a Cantonese music therapist. During the 1.5-hour interview, she discussed the importance of music within her Cantonese culture. She shared how much is a big part of her family, how music is a big part of her family, where her grandfather helped influence and spread Cantonese opera from the Eastern world to the Western world. Throughout her experience as a music therapy student and as a music therapist, she discussed racial injustice that brought feelings of confusion and frustration. Throughout her experience, Stephanie shares how her upbringing and acknowledgement of her culture has shaped her acceptance and acknowledgement of other cultures. Alice self-identifies as a Cantonese music therapist. During the hour interview, she discussed how Cantonese culture influenced her music therapy education. She shared characteristics of hardworking and flexibility in her culture and how it benefited her in her education. When discussing music, she shared how music is learned formally in Hong Kong. She also shared meaningful experiences when working with children at the place of employment. Alice explained how difficult the transition was. For example, the English language was the beginning of her music therapy education. Alice shared feelings of perseverance to overcome her obstacles. Throughout her experience as a music therapy student, Alice shared how her difference in culture makes her more culturally aware. In my findings, Hong Kong culture is a mixture of Western and Chinese culture. There is respect and traditions. Under respect, there are familial, seniority, and cultural respect. Under seniority respect, Hong Kong, elders get more respect. And in the United States, mutual respect occurs regardless of age. In cultural respect, As Hong Kong culture is a mixture of Western and Chinese culture, there is an appreciation, understanding, and accepting of culture. Under traditions, there are different types of traditions. There are holidays such as Chinese New Year and Mid-Autumn Festival. Some familial traditions include family activities on weekends. One of the big part of our tradition is the food that's in our culture. It is also important to play an instrument such as a piano or violin. And some of the values include being flexible, hardworking, and money. And it is important to save money for college, and the older generation believe in higher paying jobs are more suitable. Music is a big part of my finding as well. There were songs that were shared and passed down of music. There's casual music making and professional music making. In casual music making, it is not common in Hong Kong for people to sing and dance like they're at a concert all the time. And one of the activities in casual music making include karaoke in Hong Kong. In professional music making in Hong Kong, there is music for competition, and music is for extracurricular for resume, and it's learned formally. While in the US, music is seen as an art, and it is important to connect with music. Therapy was discussed in the interviews. Negative stigma about therapy is in Hong Kong, and there is a need for advocacy for therapy in Hong Kong because therapy takes time, and in Hong Kong everyone is always going, and they would rather take a drug instead of taking time to process and go through therapy. Therapy is new in the Eastern world, and people in Hong Kong do not have a quality of life because they're always working hard and moving and going, pushing. And in music therapy, the interviewees discuss their interest and education. The participants discuss why they wanted to be a music therapist, and we discussed medicine and the need to help others, or the want to help others. Under medicine, they decided to go through music therapy because of the parental approval, because music therapy's relationship to medicine. They also liked music therapy because of the research and methodology behind music therapy. In music therapy education, it was found that professionalism and kindness occurred in their interactions with the professors. English language learning was very hard at first, and that there is also a racial divide in education, such as questionable microaggressions, uncomfortable discussing racial injustice in lecture, and uncomfortable situations in practicum. The demographics for music therapy education, or the program, include very few minorities, most of the students were white, and international students. There is a need for further research. To continue the study with other Asian cultures, or even to survey Asian or Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders practicing in the US on their educational experience and experience as a minority music therapist. And now I will take any questions. Thank you.